programs is not only a short-sighted betrayal of American leadership, but it is going to result in millions of people getting sick and losing their lives. If we continue to retreat from helping countries around the world, as this administration is doing, our adversaries like China will fill the vacuum. That makes us less powerful and less safe. But it's not just lives at risk abroad. Lives here will be lost too. By defunding the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, millions of Americans will no longer have access to our national emergency weather alert system. Simply put, Americans will die because of these cuts. In addition to gutting one of the last vestiges of independent journalism, which is only biased if you think the truth is biased, the Republicans are also defunding free children's educational programs enjoyed by millions around the country. I urge my colleagues to vote no.
Gentleman from Massachusetts reserves. The gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll reserve.
Gentlelady reserved. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Are you 1 minute to the gentlewoman from North Carolina, Ms. Adams?
Gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized for 1 minute.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. I rise today in opposition to the rule to consider the rescissions package of 2025 and its reckless cuts to public broadcasting. You know, it's not hyperbole to say that public broadcasting saves lives during emergency situations and natural disasters. My state knows that firsthand. When Hurricane Helene devastated western North Carolina last year, public broadcasting was there when traditional communications failed. Widespread power, cellular, and internet outages meant that for thousands of North Carolinians, public radio was how they received their news. Our local public broadcasting stations provided life-saving updates for our residents, broadcasted emergency resource information like food and water and distribution, and gave a direct line for North Carolinians to speak to their communities. Slashing public broadcasting funding will limit their ability to operate funding crisis and delay critical information to the people who need it most. And make no mistake, without public broadcasting, we would have seen more lives lost in Helene. So we need to protect these stations so we can protect our communities, and I yield back.
Gentleman from Massachusetts reserves. Gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I recognize myself. Mr. Speaker, let's talk about the Public Broadcasting Act of 1967, which mandates that all public broadcasting programs must demonstrate strict adherence to objectivity and balance in all programs. There's a myriad of statistical studies that prove that they are not. Perhaps most damning for NPR is the fact that it had to utilize a $1.9 million federal grant to, quote, improve objectivity and diverse viewpoints last year. And this despite the fact that NPR's CEO recently testified, as our colleague said, she didn't witness any bias at the organization. Then why the need for the federal grant? The problem with the Public Broadcasting Act is that it lacks an enforcement mechanism. So we'll go with our constitutional prerogatives here to enforce the law, and it starts with the rescission of funding. I reserve.
Gentlelady reserved. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I yield 1 minute to the gentlewoman from New Mexico, Ms. Stansbury.
Gentlelady is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, you guys are so weak that you won't even vote to release the files. It's 11:20 p.m. in the middle of the night, and
gentlelady will suspend. The gentlelady will suspend. The House is not in order.
Agenda through Congress and the
gentlelady will suspend. The House is not in order. Gentlelady's recognized.
And it makes me wonder, have you even read this bill? I mean, really, because this bill rescinds $9 billion for international aid, public health, and public media. It will make America less safe. It will undermine our national security, and it will threaten lives across the world and kill children. But on top of that, it undermines our Constitution, the power of the people, the power of the purse, and the separation of the power of our Constitution. As Russell Vogt, OMB, and the architects of Project 2025 are trying to use this rescission bill to undermine the power of Congress. And that is why we will vote no, a hell no, to the blatant power grab that it represents in the face of a chaotic and corrupt administration.
Time has expired.
Congress that is stealing from
Gentlelady is no longer
people.
recognized. Members are reminded to direct their remarks to the chair. The gentleman from Massachusetts reserves. Gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are far from weak. We are doing what the American people want us to do, and that is to let them keep more of their money and not take it and let unnamed bureaucrats spend it on their behalf. I reserve.
Gentlelady reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
May I ask the gentlelady how many more speakers she has?
We're not quite ready to close, but we will.
Okay, well then I will
shortly.
reserve, and you can go on.
A gentleman from Massachusetts reserves. The gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 2 minutes to the distinguished chairman of the Budget Committee, Mr. Arrington.
The gentleman is recognized for 2 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, the era of woke and wasteful spending in the people's government is over. And it's sad to watch this last-ditch effort by my Democrat colleagues to fight for status quo. And the status quo is a cesspool of these programs, these leftist ideological programs that they would say is soft power for America's interest, or that they would say is life-saving services. Mr. Speaker, the American people rejected this radical agenda. They rejected the failed policies of my Democrat colleagues and their unbridled spending that's bankrupting this country. They sent President Trump here with a mandate and unified Republican leadership to restore competent leadership, common sense policies, and a commitment to America First. There is nothing common sense or America First about transgender comic books in Peru and all the other woke and wasteful programs that these folks are fighting to defend. Mr. Speaker, I'm thankful we have a president that has heard from the people and is hell-bent on right-sizing this bureaucracy, reining in this waste, restoring fiscal sanity here in Washington, D.C., not only for the taxpayers of today, but for the future, for prosperity, for freedom, for our children. And this is why my colleagues are going to wander in the wilderness for years to come. And while that might benefit us politically, it's sad for my country. And I'm sad as an American to see the defense of this crazy, divisive, and dangerous ideological programs that my taxpayers in West Texas are spending their hard-earned money for. I urge my colleagues on both sides to support this rescissions package. And I yield back.
Time has expired. Gentlelady from North Carolina reserves. Gentleman from Massachusetts is recognized.
We're prepared to close.
Okay.
All right, then
Gentleman's
I
recognized.
will close, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself the remaining time.
The gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Speaker, before I close, let's talk about what's actually in front of us. This rescissions package is a joke. Republicans passed a massive tax giveaway for the rich, one of the most expensive in history. That giveaway was 450 times the size of these rescissions. And every single Republican who spoke tonight voted to add $4 trillion to the debt. Every single one of them. And this isn't even good policy or process. It's rushed. It's sloppy. Even Republicans in the Senate are warning about the consequences. But the House majority doesn't care. They're more interested in headlines than outcomes. And once again, it's everyday people who pay the price. Now, let us end where we started, the Epstein files. Republicans can take a real vote today, a vote that will put them on the side of truth and justice, a vote to tell victims, we hear you, we see you, we will not protect the powerful at your expense. But instead, they are choosing cowardice. They are choosing obedience to Trump. And so they cooked up this non-binding resolution, a press release pretending to do something. So let's be clear. You either vote to release the files or you vote to bury them. And if every Republican votes to block our attempt to release the records, they are telling Epstein's victims, you don't matter as much as our political convenience. And that should disgust every single one of us. This place deserves better. This country deserves better. And the victims, most of all, deserve the truth. Release the Epstein files. Release the Epstein files. Release the files. I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. The gentlelady from North Carolina is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself the remainder of my time. Mr. Speaker, our colleagues across the aisle all night have been talking about what we're not here to discuss, which is this rescissions package. They keep...
The gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, the House has not been in order.
The House is not in order. The gentlewoman is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, our colleagues across the aisle have come here tonight, and they're not talking about what we're here to vote on tonight. They keep trying to distract the American people with things that we're not here to talk about. The American people do not want to see their hard-earned tax dollars being squandered, not one bit. At its core, H.R. 4 is about shutting off the spigot of wasteful money, clawing back the taxpayer dollars of Americans, and ensuring that wasteful and unnecessary spending is uprooted and left to wither and die. It's just that simple. That's all there is to it. With more rescissions packages on the horizon, as the President and Speaker have indicated, the best is yet to come. We're doing our job to help save the American taxpayer dollars. We know how hard it is to earn those dollars, and we don't want to see them squandered. With that, Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to vote yes on the previous question, yes on the rule, and yes on the underlying bill. I yield back the balance of my time and move the previous question on the resolution.
The question is on ordering the previous question on the resolution. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Speaker, come on. Mr. Speaker, I asked for the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device, and pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20, the chair will reduce to 5 minutes the minimum time for any electronic vote on the question of adoption of the resolution. This is a 15-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 218, the nays are 211. The previous question is ordered. The question is on the adoption of the resolution. Those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker, I ask for a recorded vote.
The recorded vote is requested. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is in order. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
On this vote, the yeas are 216. The nays are 213. The resolution is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to the adoption of House Resolution 590, the Senate amendment to H.R. 4 is considered as agreed to. Pursuant to House Resolution 580 and Rule 18, the Chair declares the House and the Committee of the Whole House on the State of the Union for further consideration of H.R. 4016. Will the gentleman from Illinois, Mr. Bost, kindly take the chair?
The House is in the Committee of the Whole House on State of the Union for further consideration of H.R. 4016, which the clerk will report the title.
A bill making appropriations for the Department of Defense for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, and for other purposes.
When the Committee of the Whole House rose earlier today, Amendment number 293, printed in Part A of House Report 119-199, offered by the gentleman from Wisconsin, Mr. Tiffany, had been disposed of. Pursuant to Clause 6 of Rule 18, proceedings will now resume those amendments printed in Part A of House Report 119-199, on which further proceedings were postponed, in the following order. Amendment number 111 by Ms. Green of Georgia. Amendment number 12 of Ms. Green of Georgia. Amendment number 13 of Ms. Green of Georgia. Amendment number 14 by Ms. Green of Georgia. 114 by Ms. Green of Georgia. Amendment number 115 by Ms. Green of Georgia. Amendment number 277 by Mr. Stubbe of Florida. The chair will reduce to 2 minutes the minimum time of any electronic vote in this series. Do what? Okay. The unfinished business is to request for the recorded vote of the amendment number 111, printed in Part A of House Report 119-199 by the gentlewoman from Georgia, Ms. Green, on which further proceedings were postponed, on which the noes prevailed by voice vote. The clerk will report the designated amendment.
Amendment number 111, printed in Part A of House Report number 119-199, offered by Ms. Green of Georgia.
A recorded vote has been requested. Those in support of the request for a recorded vote will rise and be counted. A sufficient number having arisen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 2-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 63, the nays are 365. The amendment is not adopted. The unfinished business is in the request of recorded vote on amendment number 112, printed in Part A on House Report 119-199 by the gentlewoman from Georgia, Ms. Green, on which further proceedings are postponed, on which the noes prevailed by voice vote. The clerk will redesignate the amendment.
Amendment number 112, printed in Part A of House Report number 119-199, offered by Ms. Green of Georgia.
A recorded vote has been requested. Those in support of the request for a recorded vote will rise and be counted. A sufficient number having risen and a recorded vote is ordered, members will record their votes by electronic device. This will be a 2-minute vote. A 2-minute vote. Yeas are 6, the nays are 421. The vote is not adopted. The unfinished business is the request for a recorded vote on amendment number 113, printed in Part A of House Report 119-199 by the gentlewoman from Georgia, Ms. Green, on which further proceedings were postponed, on which the noes prevailed by voice vote. The clerk will report and redesignate the amendment.
Amendment number 113, printed in Part A of House Report number 119-199, offered by Ms. Green of Georgia.
A recorded vote has been requested. Those in support of the request for recorded vote will arise and be counted. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This will be a 2-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 104, the nays are 326. The amendment is not adopted. The unfinished business is a request for a recorded vote on the amendment number 114, printed in Part A of House Report 119-199 by the gentlewoman from Georgia, Ms. Green, on which further proceedings were postponed and on which the noes prevailed by voice vote. The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 114, printed in Part A of House Report number 119-199, offered by Ms. Green of Georgia.
A recorded vote has been requested. Those in support of the request for the recorded vote will rise and be counted. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 2-minute vote.
On this vote, the yeas are 6, the nays are 422. The amendment is not adopted. The unfinished business is the request for a recorded vote on amendment number 115, printed in Part A of House Report 119-199 by the gentlewoman from Georgia, Ms. Green, on which further proceedings were postponed and on which the nays prevailed by voice vote. The clerk will designate the amendment.
Amendment number 115, printed in Part A of House Report number 119-199, offered by Ms. Green of Georgia.
A recorded vote has been requested. Those in support of the request, a recorded vote will rise and be counted. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 2-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 30, the nays are 400. The amendment is not adopted. The unfinished business is the request for a recorded vote on amendment number 116, printed in Part A of House Report 119-199 by the gentlewoman from Georgia, Ms. Green, on which further proceedings were postponed, and on which the noes prevailed by voice vote. The clerk will redesignate the amendment.
Amendment number 116, printed in Part A of House Report number 119-199, offered by Ms. Green of Georgia.
A recorded vote has been requested. Those in support of the request for a recorded vote will rise and be counted. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This will be a 2-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 76, the nays are 353. The amendment is not adopted. The unfinished business is the request for a recorded vote on amendment number 277, printed in Part A of the House Report 119-199 by the gentleman from Florida, Mr. Stubbe, on which further proceedings were postponed and on which the noes prevailed by voice vote. The clerk will redesignate the amendment.
Amendment number 277, printed in Part A of House Report number 119-199, offered by Mr. Stubbe of Florida.
A recorded vote has been requested. Those in support of the request for a recorded vote will rise and be counted. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This will be a 2-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 76, the nays are 355. The amendment is not adopted. There being no further amendment, pursuant to the rule, the committee rises.
I thought I was here for two votes. But the first thing you're going to do is look down to him and say, Mr. Chairman. Say, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Speaker, the Committee of the Whole House on the State of the Union has under consideration H.R. 4016 and pursuant to House Resolution 580, I report the bill back to the House with sundry amendments adopted in the Committee of the Whole.
Chair of the Committee of the Whole House on the State of the Union reports that the committee has under consideration the bill H.R. 4016 and reports the bill back to the House with sundry amendments adopted in the Committee of the Whole. Under House Resolution 580, the previous question is ordered. There's a separate vote demanded on any amendment reported from the Committee on the Whole. If not, the Chair will put them in gross. The question is on the adoption of the amendment. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. The question is on engrossment and third reading of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The ayes have it. Third reading.
A bill making appropriations for the Department of Defense for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2026, and for other purposes.
House will be in order. House will be in order. The House will be in order. For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Ohio seek recognition?
Commit at the desk.
Clerk will report the motion.
Ms. Captor of Ohio moves to recommit the bill H.R. 4016 to the Committee on Appropriations.
Pursuant to Clause 2B of Rule 19, the previous question is on the order on the motion to recommit. Question is on the motion to recommit. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Opinion of the chair, the noes have it.
Mr. Speaker, on
the
that I
gentleman
ask.
from Ohio is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, on that I ask for the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays arise. Sufficient number having arisen. The yeas and nays are now ordered. Members to record their votes by electronic device. Pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20, the chair will reduce the time to 5 minutes, the minimum time for the electronic vote. This is a 5-minute vote on passage. On this vote, the yeas are 211, the nays are 219. The motion is not adopted. The question is on the passage of the bill pursuant to Clause 10, Rule 20. The yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. 221. The nays are 209. The bill is passed. Without objection, motion reconsider laid upon the table. For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent that the engrossment of H.R. 4016, the clerk will be authorized to correct section numbers, punctuation, cross-references, and to make sure such other technical and conforming changes as may be necessary to reflect the actions of the House in amending the bill, and that the second instruction in Amendment number 40, printed in House Report 119-199, be changed from page 39, line 19, to page 40, line 19.
Without objection.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Missouri seek recognition?
I ask unanimous consent to address the House out of order.
Without objection.
Today, our country lost a true trailblazer. Congressman William Clay passed away after a lifetime of service that reshaped St. Louis and our nation. Already a civil rights icon before he was elected, he didn't come to Washington to play politics. He came to fight for working people, black families, union members, and those too often left out and unheard. He carried their voices into this chamber and made sure they echoed. Bill Clay was a founding member of the Congressional Black Caucus. I, so many others, would not be here without the doors he opened and the example he set. I yield to Reverend Cleaver.
As I sat on the bed this morning trying to get up, I received a phone call to tell me that Congressman Bill Clay had just passed. And I sat there for a few minutes feeling sad. And then it occurred to me that death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss in life is to die with your life not lived and still inside you. Bill Clay did not die with hope for his country inside him. He did not die with his brilliant writing inside him. He did not die with creativity. And alas, Bill Clay did not die without working every day he walked into this place for the people of St. Louis.
I'm holding his son, my friend and predecessor, Lacey Clay, the entire Clay family, and the St. Louis community in my prayers. I ask that on behalf of myself, the entire CBC, which he helped found, the Missouri delegation, I ask for a moment of silence in memory of the Honorable William Lacey Clay, Sr. I yield back.
The chairman lays before the House a communication.
The Honorable, the Speaker, House of Representatives, sir. Enclosed is my letter of retirement sent to Tennessee Governor Bill Lee. I will leave the United States House of Representatives effective July 20th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for your steadfast leadership to advance the conservative principles we both hold dear. I appreciate your friendship over the years and look forward to seeing what incredible feats the House of Representatives will accomplish for the American people. Signed sincerely, Mark E. Green, Member of Congress.
The chair lays before the House the following enrolled bill.
H.R. 4, an act to rescind certain budget authority proposed to be rescinded in special messages transmitted to the Congress by the President on June 3, 2025, in accordance with Section 1012A of the Congressional Budget and Impoundment Control Act of 1974.
The chair will now entertain requests for 1-minute speeches. For what purpose does the gentleman from Montana seek recognition?
Mr. Chair, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Chair, I rise today to recognize an extraordinary young Montanan, Tarkan Benyon, who will make his Carnegie Hall debut on July 20th. Tarkan hails from Sydney, Montana, and is one of 28 violinists from around the country headed to the Big Apple to perform with the National Youth Orchestra of the United States. Not only will he debut in New York, he will also represent our nation and our state as he tours internationally in Japan, Hong Kong, China, and South Korea. Tarkan's journey began at the age of 5 when his mother, who taught herself to play the violin at age 34, inspired him to pursue music. Since then, his passion has taken him to venues like the Montana Senate Chamber, where he performed a piece from Mozart's Violin Concerto No. 4 during his time as a page. Tarkan, your remarkable talent and dedication are an inspiration to your peers and to your state. Congratulations on this incredible accomplishment, and best of luck in your bright future. I know this is just beginning. Mr. Chair, I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
Request unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute.
The gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, America faces a housing crisis. One part of the solution to that crisis, though, lies right in our backyards. The solution has many names: granny flats, backyard cottages, or accessory dwelling units, but all expand our affordable housing supply. When I was mayor of San Jose, we made building backyard apartments easier by enabling thousands of homeowners to be able to get their permits online in a single day. The problem, though, was that many homeowners of modest means could never get a shovel in the ground because they couldn't get financing. So we talked to the banks, and the banks said they would lend if homeowners could get FHA insurance, or Fannie or Freddie would backstop the loans. So today, along with my Republican colleague, Andrew Garbarino, I've introduced a bill to do just that. The Bipartisan Supply Act will empower homeowners to become home providers. Colleagues, together, let's make affordable housing a reality for thousands more Americans. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentleman from Georgia seek recognition?
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that when the House adjourns today, it adjourn to meet at noon on Monday next for morning hour debate and 2 p.m. for legislative business.
Without objection. For what purpose does the gentleman from Georgia seek recognition?
I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute to revise and extend my remarks.
The gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to recognize Ms. Susan Mason, a resident of Savannah, Georgia, who has dedicated 40 years of her life to bringing elegance, excellence, and warmth to thousands of lives' most meaningful celebrations. When Susan Mason founded her catering company in 1985, she was recently divorced, living rent-free in a friend's home and inspired by a then up-and-coming Martha Stewart. What she lacked in resources, she made up for with resolve, talent, and a sparkling sense of humor. Over the next 4 decades, Susan Mason Catering became synonymous with silver service, culinary perfection, and timeless Southern style. Whether planning wrap parties for A-list celebrities or elegant weddings for local families, she made sure every detail was flawless. She is now 85 years young and still very much at the center of the party. With her signature wit and stylish presence, she has become both a cultural fixture and a business force in Savannah. Mr. Speaker, Susan Mason represents the very best of resilience, charm, and an entrepreneurial spirit. It is an honor to recognize her today for 40 years of extraordinary service. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentleman from Rhode Island seek recognition? Gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today for the 30th time to call on the Trump administration to restore life-saving food aid for starving children. When children are starving, their organs shut down. At a certain point, they're not able to eat traditional food anymore. Ready-to-use therapeutic food is the only chance they have to survive and to get back to health. Right now in Rhode Island, there are 87,000 boxes of ready-to-use therapeutic food sitting in a warehouse, already bought and paid for, but sitting in a warehouse because the Trump administration has frozen this aid. It is time for the administration to honor the will of Congress, to honor its own commitment, and to do the right thing and get this food to the kids around the world who need it. I will keep speaking out every day until they do, and I yield back.
The gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition?
To address the House for 1 minute to revise and extend my remarks.
The gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, tonight I voted against sending more military aid to Israel. I voted against it because I saw it and currently see it as a vote against collective punishment, a vote against ethnic cleansing, and a vote against genocide appearing before my very eyes. I refuse to have my fingerprints, my imprimatur, on the killing of innocent people, including children. I voted no. I will not become a yes because Mr. Netanyahu doesn't want peace. He wants all of Palestine. My imprimatur will not be on it. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition?
I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to express my shock and outrage over the killing of Saif Moussalet, a 20-year-old Palestinian American from Florida who was visiting his family in the West Bank. He was beaten on his own family's land by settlers. We have grown too used to this kind of violence. We have grown weary of news reports detailing the onslaught of deaths. But we should never accept the killing of innocents, let alone the killing of an innocent American citizen. In an unusual and forceful statement, Ambassador Huckabee called the killing a, quote, criminal and terrorist act, unquote, and urged Israeli authorities to conduct a full investigation and bring those responsible to justice. I echo the call of the ambassador for an investigation and ask my colleagues to do the same. The United States Congress cannot allow silence to reign and complicity to creep in. Instead, we must demand justice. I yield back, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman yields back. Does the gentleman have a motion?
Mr. Speaker, I move.
The gentleman would suspend permanently.
Gentleman will suspend.
Another 1 minute. We have another 1 minute.
State. What state? For what purpose does the gentleman from Wisconsin seek recognition?
Well, I'd like to unanimous request to speak for 1 minute, revise and extend my remarks.
The gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you. As we leave the Capitol for the weekend, we want to leave the body here with a little bit of thought. I'm going to quote from a book called The Tragedy of American Compassion by Marvin Olasky, now a 30-year-old book. But it's an interesting book in that it deals with what we today call welfare, at the time that was all privatized. And I'm going to quote from the Society for the Prevention of Pauperism of the City of New York, and what they felt was the cause of pauperism at the time and what had to be done to end it. And they listed 10 causes of pauperism. People in the 1820s were brighter than the people today. They listed ignorance, idleness, intemperance, which I take it to mean drunkenness, want of economy, imprudent and hasty marriages, you don't hear that one anymore, but they felt it was one of the top 10, lotteries, pawnbrokers, brothels, gambling houses, and the most interesting one, the vice of charities that gave away money too freely. So when we return next week, let's remember the wisdom from the Society for the Prevention of Pauperism and not give away charity too easily. Thank you.
Gentleman's time has expired. Does the gentleman have a motion?
Yeah, I think we should adjourn.
The question is on the motion to adjourn. Those in favor, so signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair is the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Accordingly, the House stands adjourned until noon on Monday next for morning order debate.